I want to talk baseball again, particularly the new bats that are making headlines, and they're a bit controversial. But first, I want to give you a little background because we're talking about the Torpedo Bat. Now, this started in the early 2023 season when Aaron Leonhardt, a minor league hitting coordinator with the Yankees, started asking hitters what they needed to perform better. League-wide batting average the previous year was at its lowest point in more than half a century. And he learned that hitters were obviously frustrated with the dominant pitching, and they wanted to make more contact. It should be noted that he's an MIT-educated physics professor. He was a professor at the University of Michigan, but he left the world of academia for that of professional sports. And after those conversations with players, he decided and determined that an increase to the size of the barrel of the bat, the sweet spot, if you will, that's what was needed to increase hitting. Makes sense, right? So they redistributed the weight, and what you have is a bowling pin or torpedo shape, which is the most significant change in bats since players replaced their ash bats with maple about a generation ago. Several players around the league have adopted them. And after debuting to start the season, the Yankees tied a major league record with 15 home runs over their first 3 games, 9 of those home runs coming from the Torpedo Bat. I want to know, what do you guys think? Is this good for baseball, or is this something that should be left on the scrap heap and banned?
Can I go first this time? Am I allowed?
Yeah, I guess I didn't pick somebody, but yeah, go ahead. Why not?
Okay. Listen, I get the volatility. Some people love it, some people don't. I'm on the side, honestly, of not liking it. If you were able to change your equipment in other sports, say get a smaller ball because your hands are smaller, because your technique is better that way. In basketball, people wouldn't like that. It's the same thing here for me. It's hard because I think of it one way like that, and I think of it another way like football. There's different size pads, there's different helmets that are better for different position groups. But when you're talking about players, like Ellie De La Cruz last night had career high 7 RBIs, 2 home runs of the season. I mean, we're talking monstrous, insane numbers. It feels quasi performance enhancing to me. Obviously, that's a big word or a big stretch because you think performance enhancing drugs. I'm just not a big fan of it. And there's also some other sides to it we're not talking about. Injury risk could be a thing because of the weight on the bat, on the wrists, elbows, shoulders, this, that, and the third. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it because I feel like it changes it too much. But on the other hand, I think it's good for the sport because we're watching people go yard and hit dingers left, right, and center, and that's good for the sport. What do you guys think?
I want to challenge you a little bit because there are rules to these things. In the rules of a bat, there's certain diameter restrictions, certain length restrictions. They stayed within those restrictions. This is the same length bat. They're just redistributing the weight differently. It's not like they're using different material or anything like that. It's using physics to make a better product. So I guess I don't understand why change is a bad thing. Would you have said, hey, don't change from ash bats? That's ridiculous, using a different wood. I just don't think that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I just think something like this, I don't know. Maybe I'm being first of all, let me answer this because if you can tell and you can hear my voice for those who aren't listening, I'm kind of in the middle on this and leaning towards it shouldn't be a thing. I don't think it's cheating right now because it doesn't violate any of the rules in the rule book. But does that mean that it should be banned is more so what I'm thinking of, which answers the question, is the Torpedo Bat bad for baseball? To me, it's giving an advantage to players that are it's just so hard. It's giving an advantage, but it makes sense because it's a smart technique.
Before you say advantage, and John, I do want to hear your take real quick. Noah, I know you weren't a baseball player, but to hit a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, believe me that the bat is a small part of that. There is still a lot that they need to do themselves, even though they're changing the sweet spot a little bit. And it comes down to more than just the bat in their hands. John, give me your take.
Yeah, you guys hit on a few things that are super interesting. This is going to be a good debate. To not bury the lead, I don't think it's bad for baseball. Now, there's a couple things you said. Noah won. They could be wrong, but one of the things about this bat is that the physics of it make it feel the same to swing. So the risk of injury shouldn't be there. Doesn't mean it won't. We've seen stuff like this happen before. But the point of that sweet spot and how they distribute the weight is to say when you swing the bat, it feels very, very similar, if not exactly the same. Second, Erik, you're exactly right. There are rules. A bat in the major league shall be no longer than 42 inches, and the grip or pine tar, the stuff you put that hold on to it, can't be any more than either 16 or 18 inches. It's the width of the plate. If you watch the George Brett video and watch him put it down on, that's what that's about. So it's within the rules, and we don't have any evidence to say that it's more injury prone. For the youngest guy on the show, and one of the youngest guys I like hang out with, this is the first old man take that you've had. This game has been stuck in 1928 for a very long time, and baseball is behind more than most. They put a whole ass 3-point line in NBA, and everybody said, oh, this makes it better. There's more scoring. They're going to use cameras and technology to call first downs this year instead of the chain gang. They change every other sport meaningfully every single year. And baseball is one of these ones that goes, well, should we start the extra innings with people on base? And should we have the pitchers bat? It took them 40 years to figure out to have a DH in the National League. They're old, man. I think it's technology. The other thing you got to know about baseball is with wooden bats, there's never any restrictions on like shaving and stuff. You can't cork it. You can't unscrew it in the middle, hollow it out. But the cup on the end of the bat was to shave a few ounces. You can shave the handle as thin as you want. Now you're going to break a lot of bats and you're not going to get a ton of power. But finagling the wood shape on the bat is actually an inherent part of baseball. They just haven't had a meaningful development in a long time. So I view this as a nod to the engineers. I've never heard a single solitary person come home from a baseball game and say, man, that sucked. Too much offense, too many home runs. I wanted to see a pitcher's duel today. It's not bad for baseball. They put a pitching clock in there. They do all kinds. They have bigger bases. I think they let it go. I think if everybody can use it, either you can use it or you don't want to. But I have absolutely no problem with the torpedo bat, and I don't think it should be banned at all.
My take is the exact same as yours. And the reality is baseball is at a crossroads right now. Because yes, it is the national pastime, and there is something to be said about the legacy of it and the history of it. But it's also falling behind other sports. And part of that is it's a long game. They've taken steps, like you said, John, to address that. And I think they've been wholly successful, frankly. This is just another evolution. You know, I was a pitcher. I like a good pitching duel and a pitching matchup. But you're exactly right. The more offense, the better. And when I think back about watching baseball as a kid, you know, there's maybe no bigger moments than the Sosa McGuire, thank you.
And Bonds. Don't forget about Bonds in there late too.
Chase to go after Roger Maris. And that was at the height of the steroid era. It's fun. It's fun to watch. More offense is better. What it means for baseball, I think it's nothing but good things. And I, for one, Tim said Quan is using it. And he's batting like 500 right now, or he was anyway. I mean, bring it on.
Yeah.
It's just, I keep going back and forth on it, right? Because Tim makes a good point in the comments. And by the way, it was Luke who said that Quan's bat was altered, just to give credit where credit is due. Tim said, now let's ban the rugby tush push, which makes me think of my thought processes on football. And I think it's stupid that they want to ban the tush push. So
no way. An offensive lineman likes the tush push. Get out of here.
Right. So it makes me go back and forth because it feels like it's an unfair competitive advantage to players that aren't hitting the ball where every other person's bat is. But at the same time, it's good for the sport. It's what makes me keep going back and forth with it. I agree with everything you guys are saying, but it also still feels unnatural. And maybe that's me just feeling like a baseball fan in general and how all baseball fans are about not wanting change or not wanting to see XYZ happen in the game, even though I was also a fan of the pitch clock and the man on second. So I don't know if it's because it's equipment based and it's giving people an advantage that they didn't have before that's bothering me.
I think it's mental though, a lot of it, because listen, Francisco Lindor's using the bat too, and he's batting 067 right now. I mean,
That's true.
You still got to hit the ball, and I think we're discounting it. That one of John's favorite sayings that I like a lot is the guys on the other side get paid too. Yes, it's a bit of an evolution, but the pitchers, they have a lot to do with this too, and the catchers calling that game matters. They know and they study those hitters coming up. Yeah, Tim, that's how you're going to get some deaths real quick.
Let's have MLB use aluminum bats. We're going to watch murder on the baseball field if that happens.
I'm going to stand in the cemetery and catch fly balls.
Idea. Yeah, I love the idea for the home run derby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
okay, now we're talking business now, John. I'm in on that as well.
You're going to have it at like San Francisco every year though, so that it can go into the water. Listen, I'm all for it. I would even be for allow pitchers that now to use a little more substance. I know that would be even more controversial, but why not up the ante on the other side of the ball at the same time and see who's going to win this duel? Let them do whatever they want.
Bring back I think that's I love it.
No, that's what I think is a good example though, because we're banning some of this stuff that gives pitchers the advantage, and
but
maybe
those have
that's
always been banned.
Okay, but you know what I mean. It's gotten doubled down on and bid on harder as of late. I don't know.
John's right though. Your take is so like, why don't we get rid of lights? Because baseball was never intended to be played under the lights. I mean, that's the game evolves.
And that's all.
But my take isn't.
Let's go back to the wing. Go ahead, Noah.
Thank you. My take isn't fully on the side of it being a bad thing. I'm just flirting with the idea of like it feels unnatural. Like I'm not deeply rooted in that. I want to make that very clear. I like that it's making the game more exciting. I like that it is having some of these unreal moments already, and it's helping batters who have some issues or whatever, but it just doesn't feel natural to me. I don't know.
Yeah, but in a game that banned the shift and banned infield players from standing in the outfield, those are big changes. Those are things that they've done for many, many years.
Think about your own sport that you love and how many changes they've made. My dad played tight end at Benedictine at Miami of Ohio. Played tight end. He's 6'9". He caught 7 passes his entire career because the tight end back then just was offensive lineman who moved. They used to have 4 guys in the backfield and run the power T and the power I. Do you know what a spread offense looks like to my dad the first time he saw it? Weird.
Oh, I'm aware.
Doesn't mean we should ban it. And like, it's legal, so do it.
My stepdad was a wing T guy growing up, playing right guard and left end.